Hello, my name is Oluwale Godwin and welcome to MH Economics. Today we shall be talking on the topic change in quantity supply and change in supply. Okay, we've spoken about change in quantity demand and change in demand before. Alright, so what is supply? Supply is the amount of goods and services that a producer is willing to sell at a given price and at a particular time. We have the law of supply, which is otherwise known as the second law of demand. Okay, it simply states that the higher the price of a commodity, the higher the quantity supplied, and vice versa. Simply meaning that the lower the price of a commodity, the lower the quantity supplied. And I think that is logical enough. So imagine you are the producer of a commodity, which of the which incentive is going to make you to produce more or to offer less to the market? Is it when the price of your commodity has risen or when the price of your commodity has fallen? So if I am thinking what you're thinking, so I think that should be when the price of your commodity has risen. All right, and that is just the law of supply. Okay, I must also note that we must add other things being equal. Okay, so fully the law of supply states that the higher the price of the commodity, the higher the quantity supplied, and vice versa, other things being equal. That is, assuming that other factors are constant. Okay, so there are different factors affecting supply. First, the price of the commodity itself. Okay, the cost of production, technology, weather, price of the liquidative good, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now let's talk about the main theme of this video. So, we want to differentiate between change in quantity supplied and change in supply. Okay, which gives students a little bit of stress. Okay, so when we are talking about change in quantity supply, okay, we are just talking about a change, that is a movement along the supply curve, a movement along the supply curve, and that is simply caused by the change in the price of the commodity in question. Okay, so there is no other factor that causes a movement along the supply curve apart from the price of the commodity itself. So we have this is the first price and this is the second. This is the first price and the first quantity. So at this price, our producer is supplying this quantity to the market. So immediately the price rose from P1 to P2. Okay, our producer began to supply Q2 to the market. So we now discover that the supply curve is upward sloping. That is, it has a positive slope. Okay, so this is essentially what a change in quantity supply is all about. It might be a reduction in the price, and in that case, so we have a fall in price, which is of course going to lead to a reduction in the quantity supplied. Okay, so we have to take note of the fact that I am mentioning quantity supplied. Okay, so now let's move into change in supply. Okay, so what is change in supply? Change in supply occurs, okay, when other factors affecting supply apart from the price of the commodity itself changes. Okay, so as stated, we have other factors affecting supply, including the cost of production, technology, weather, price of related good, and so on and so forth. So let us assume that there is a change in cost of production. Okay, and in that wise, we are talking about a fall in the cost of production. So imagine yourself as a producer producing one of your favorite things. Okay, maybe book, clothes, and stuff like that. So if the cost of your raw materials should fall, will you supply the markets more of your good or less of your good? Okay, so in that case, a fall in the cost of production simply means you can now produce more at the market price. Okay, and in that case, when there is a fall in the cost of production, we have a movement from Q1 to Q2. But then what we must note that is important is that we have price on this axis, that is the price of the commodity, and then we have quantity of the commodity on this axis. So it was a change in the cost of production, that is a fall in the cost of production, that made Q1 to increase to Q2. But then cost of production is not on this axis, neither is it on this axis. Okay, so we are only going to reflect what happened to quantity. Okay, our quantity change. So it is price that is here. This is not cost of production, so there is no movement at all. It's still the same price. All right. So in that case, this was the old supply curve. Okay, at P1, our producer was producing Q1. So now that the cost of production has reduced at the same P1, okay, at the same P1, our producer is now producing Q2. All right. So let's say it's the other way around, that there is an increase in the cost of production of this commodity. So that simply means it's now more expensive for the producer to produce the commodity that he was initially producing. So in that case, what the producer does, okay, which I think is what you will do rationally under normal circumstances, is to cut back on the quantity supplied to the market. So in that case, we are going to have a reduction, okay, something like, we are going to have something like this. Okay, so the initial crop would have been S2, S2, S2. So in this case, let me just name it. Okay, so let's name it S1, S2, then S2. So when there is an increase in the cost of production, less is supplied to the market at the same price. Okay, so this change that occurs from moving from S1 to a new crop entirely is what is called change in supply. Change in supply. Okay, so it's not called change in quantity supply. This is just change in supply. Okay, so in the two cases, so when we have change in quantity supply and change in supply, Q is going to change, of course, but then what you need to note is what is happening to the price of the commodity. So if Q changes because the price of the commodity is changing, we have a movement along the supply curve. So there's no new supply curve, so we just have a movement. That is called change in quantity supplied. Okay, so in this case, we have change in supply because Q is changing, but P is not. Okay, and it could also be called a shift of the supply curve. Okay, so if this in our initial explanation, when the cost of production reduced, our supply curve shifted to this to the new one. So that was an outward shift. Okay, or you may call it a rightward shift. Okay, moving from the left hand side to the right hand side, a rightward shift or an outward shift, or perhaps a downward shift, okay, of the supply curve. Okay, and in the other way around, when the cost of production rose, okay, making it more costly to produce what the producer was initially producing, okay, and the producer ended up cutting back the supply to the market. So there happens to be an inward shift. Okay, the supply curve shift inward, that is, we leave the entire the first supply curve and shift to another supply curve entirely. Okay, so in that case, there is an inward shift or a leftward shift or an upward shift of the supply curve. Okay, so I hope you do understand all of this concept, and please ensure not to mix them up anymore. Okay, so if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section under the video, and remember to share this with your friends, like and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.